So the update for the 3-valve Mustang GT, my friend got all new valve lashes and he soaked them in oil overnight, and we installed those in, put the cams in, got everything ready to go back together, put assembly lube on the cams, and getting ready to do all the timing on the engine. And we got all new tensioners and guides, new chains, everything. So basically, this is how it all came out. It was all timed to what I thought was correctly, except for the marks you'll notice were incorrect on the top cam sprockets. The bottom's correct, but I wasn't familiar with the 3 valves, and I thought it was just an arrow, but it was actually a left and a right. So we'll go back and correct that here. But this is the cam holding tool, kind of cool, holds the sprocket in place. The old engine, it did look like the valve had some witness marks on the piston. Not very bad, just a few little scratches there. It really doesn't look too bad. You know, I've seen worse. So I think it was lucky the valve just kind of got jammed up and stayed up. It didn't beat around in there. So we put new oil pan gasket on and torqued all that down to spec. Cleaned up the timing cover a bunch. Got everything all cleaned out of the grooves. Put the new seals in. Got the timing cover just ready to go back on, and there's some spots where you have to put RTV where the heads meet the block and down by the oil pan and everything. So that looked really good. Got that all nice and ready to go. So got the bolts all lined up and, you know, tapped it on, and then did the oil pan bolts second after that, the ones that come up the bottom. But we torqued everything to spec and in sequence. And then we actually had to redo the timing. So here we go. Right on the passenger side, dot on the bottom with the chains in the center. See there, the back one also on the bottom where the dot would go. And then here on the driver's side, which is the left, had the dot on the top. So now the engine rotates just nicely and everything. We took the spark plugs out to help rotate it a little smoother, and it turned out nicely. So that's the update. The engine's getting about ready to go back in, but I did just want to touch on these cam phaser markings because there is an R like this one, which is on the passenger side, and the L, which is on the driver's side. And these cam phasers are interchangeable side to side, and they all have the L and the R on the same phaser, the same cam gear. They're just 180 degrees opposite each other. And so I was under the impression that we just had two R ones because they both had the R's on them, and that you would use the arrow to go 180 degrees if you didn't have a driver side or passenger specific, but that was incorrect. That is an L, and the other one is an R, and it is left and right. And even though the phaser is one part number and it's interchangeable side to side, you do have to make sure to have the L and the R lined up on each bank. And what I didn't know was that that is an actual L. I thought it was just an arrow. So we did the dot to dot method, and like on a 2 valve, you would just have a dot on each. So once I figured out that that was actually an L for left-hand side, then we took the cam caps off and we turned the cams correctly. So that's just something I wanted to talk about. I did some research on it and was reading about it, and I was worried because we had marked it up 180 degrees off on one bank, which was fine. None of the valves touched or anything. And from what I could see, the engine actually rotated just the same. It was off 180 degrees, so maybe it was just on a compression stroke or intake stroke with the exhaust valves open or closed, or the intake open and closed, whatever it turned out to be. But anyway, we got that corrected, and we're going to reseal the timing cover and put everything back on. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more Mustang content.